Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, we're going to react to AOC's speech. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's speech at the DNC convention last night. So the DNC convention, big set piece moment. It's kind of when Biden handed over the torch to Kamala, and several people made big speeches there. And just from reading the newspapers, a lot of noise is being made of AOC's speech. Some people are even saying it was kind of her sort of like pitching herself as a 2032 presidential candidate for the Democrats. And yeah, just wanted to find out, what she said. Apparently she, she really ruffled some feathers, and just hear what some of the media make of it. But yeah, this should be kind of interesting.
Thank you, Chicago, for your energy. Thank you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for your vision.
Wow, the crowd are getting behind her. They like her. They like her.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chicago, for your energy. Thank you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for your vision. And thank you, Joe Biden, for your leadership.
Where is Joe? Are they going to show him? Or is he probably getting ready for his speech backstage?
6 years ago, I was taking omelet orders as a waitress in New York City.
Wow.
I didn't have health insurance. My family was fighting off foreclosure.
Really? So her political career is still quite in its early stages.
And we were struggling with bills after my dad passed away unexpectedly from cancer. Like millions of Americans, we were just looking for an honest shake. And we were tired of a cynical politics that seemed blind to the realities of working people. It was then, only through the miracles of democracy and community, that the good people of the Bronx and Queens chose someone like me to elect them in Congress.
Who's that? Maybe her mum or just somebody in the crowd?
And America, in my heart, I know from that same cloth of hope and aspiration, we will also elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as President and Vice President of the United States of America.
She's really galvanizing the crowd. High energy.
I am here tonight because America has before us a rare and precious opportunity. In Kamala Harris, we have a chance to elect a president who is for the middle class because she is from the middle class. She understands the urgency of rent checks and groceries and prescriptions. She is as committed to our reproductive and civil rights as she is to taking on corporate greed.
I mean, rent checks for sure. Like, some of these landlords are definitely just extracting as much value as they can. Like, obviously you could argue that, it's in their, it's their prerogative, they can do what they want with their property. But, when it's a family who are literally at the limit of what they can afford, to then just say, I want an extra $500 a month, it's like...
And she is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home. In Kamala Harris, I see a leader who understands. I see a leader with a real commitment to a better future for working families. And Chicago, we have to help her win. Because we know that Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friends.
Wow.
And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life. The truth is, Don.
He's like, whoa, what did you just say? His face.
You cannot love this country if you only fight for the wealthy and big business. To love this country is to fight for its people.
Absolutely.
All people, working
working
people, everyday Americans like bartenders and factory workers and fast food cashiers who punch a clock and are on their feet all day in some of the toughest jobs out there. You know?
Yeah. SMEs, small business, that's the backbone of any economy.
Ever since I got elected, Republicans have attacked me by saying that I should go back to bartending.
Dang, did they say that?
But let me tell you, I'm happy to any day of the week because there is nothing wrong with working for a living. Imagine having leaders in the White House who understand that. Leaders like Kamala and Tim. But Chicago, just because the choice is clear to us does not mean that the path will be easy. Over the next 78 days, we will have to pour every ounce, every minute, every moment into making history on November 5th.
Man, the American presidential political cycle takes forever. I can't believe there's still 78 days to go. That is such a long time, you know? I mean, a lot can happen in that time. Plenty of time for things to go back and forth, for the pendulum to swing between each candidate.
But we cannot send Kamala and Tim to the White House alone. Together, we must also elect strong Democratic majorities in the House and in the Senate so that we can deliver on an ambitious agenda for the people. Because if you are a working parent trying to afford rent and childcare, Kamala is for you. If you are a senior who had to go back to work because your retirement didn't stretch far enough, Kamala is for you. If you're an immigrant family just starting your American story, Kamala is for you.
I mean, wow, it's a powerful speech. Like, you know, just looking at it objectively, she's really, really fighting for her corner. And, you know, her speechwriter did a pretty good job. It's very galvanizing. It's got the crowd involved. There's plenty of moments for the crowd to cheer, you know.
America, when we knock on our neighbor's door, organize our communities, and elect Kamala Harris to the presidency on November 5th, we will send a loud message that the people of this nation will not go back. We choose a new path and open the door to a new day, one that is for the people and by the people. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless. God bless you all.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let's see what people are saying in the comments here. Don't forget, AOC was a bartender in college, which meant that she had to learn to think on her feet, work under stressful situations, and mediate conflicts between disagreeable people you wouldn't choose to associate with, and for middling reward. Fair point. When Republicans bring up her past as a bartender to demean AOC, they're telling us ordinary Americans exactly what they think of us. I hope AOC is our first bartender president, and we have a few more bartender senators and congresspeople to keep her company. Wow. I mean, that is an impactful comment, and it's hard to disagree with a lot of it. At the end of the day, you need everyday Americans in positions of power, because really and truly, they're the ones who can really relate with the everyday American. You know, if you've got the Senate and Congress just full of extremely wealthy people, they have their own interests in mind, you know. That's just my opinion. Very, very good. Now, let's see what some of the other media thinks of what AO's speech. Let's see what they think.
AOC on the stage, about 6 minutes. 6 minutes. We welcome our good friend, our dear friend. She's got 4 great shows here at Fox. Of course, the hit show, The Five, and I'm watching America's Newsroom every morning.
Are you?
Of course I am.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be on with you guys on Thursday.
I know, I'm excited.
And our friend Charlie Hurt is here as well. You know, this is important to me. I was watching AOC, and I thought it was important to run it because I used to say about AOC, she was the Speaker of the House, and Nancy was Speaker in name only. Now, this has now come full circle. Think about this, because here is the sponsor of the $93 trillion radical communist socialist, use whatever name you want, Green New Deal, and Kamala co-sponsored that bill in the Senate with Bernie Sanders, like she co-sponsored Medicare for All, universal health care, which would eliminate private health insurance. That is this new radicalized Democratic Party. That
Americans watching this video, are you happy with the medical care industry as it is right now? Are you happy to continue as you are, paying for a, you know, monthly healthcare premium, which obviously has co-pays, etc., etc., etc.? Or would you rather have a UK style NHS where you pay, let's say, between 7 and 9% of your income into the NHS pot, and everything is covered apart from cosmetic? Like, everything is covered, everything. And prescriptions are $9. They're £9 per prescription. What would you rather have? Our system or keep your system? Let me know.
they're trying to hide from. Is that why they...
I found that whole thing totally bizarre in a way. But first of all, she's a great speaker. She had the crowd hype. For the most part, Democrats always talk over the speakers. They listened to her. And she is a great opening act.
Because I was a bartender, too. Maybe one day they'll listen to me. I
was a great waitress as well. But it also seemed very disconnected to reality. She was talking as if Biden and Harris hadn't been in office for the last 3.5 years. She was talking about people having to go back to work because they couldn't afford things. I'm like, yeah, well, when did that happen? Right? And she's talking about immigrant families starting out and how Kamala Harris is their personal. Yes, we know. Yes, that's absolutely true. She also is talking about how non-college educated workers, like, well, Donald Trump has all those voters now, and he has the rural vote. They are now the party of the elite. And then she said,
really?
President Trump just wants to do things for his friends on Wall Street. As far as
the Democrats are the party of the elite now. Really? I mean, historically, that's not been the case at all, but I mean, possibly.
I can tell he doesn't have any friends on Wall Street.
That's a good point.
I don't understand what she was saying. It was a great speech, but it didn't make any sense.
That's a great analysis. Well said. I think they tapped into something that's really true, and that is, I know they're hiding their Hollywood friends. There'll be a few of them here, but not many. I know they're kicking people out of a diner so that they can put their friends in their place rather than talk to everyday people. And I love diners. When I was done closing the bar at 4:30 and cleaning it, when I was 17, 18, 19 years old, I would head straight to the diner and read the local newspaper. But the point is, everything about this is phony. Everything about her is now phony. It is contrived. It is not real. It is the opposite of everything she has now stated and stood for the last 5 years. How is that?
Yeah, and it's never more common.
But I suppose you could argue that she was vice president. Like, obviously being vice president is a great title, but ultimately she has to, as a vice, defer to Joe Biden and what Joe Biden wants to do. Like, she doesn't really have the power to make policy as vice president. She can make suggestions, but ultimately it will be Joe Biden, the Senate, Congress, etc., that pass things.
Then when she says on day one, you're like, wait a minute, I did the math, and it's day 1,460, I think, that you'll be president if you win. And you're right. The last thing that she wants, the vice president wants to do is to run on a record. And I agree with you, Dana, that AOC is a wonderful speaker. She's a great hype person. She had everybody on the edge of their seats. But I think that it's almost a little bit of a problem because Kamala Harris does not command that kind of attention in a speech. She can read a teleprompter very well, but it's not the same as what we just saw right there. And I think that's a poor comparison for the vice president.
But wasn't it kind of unimaginable when AOC came out with the Green New Deal? Like there was a part of us that laughed. 93
trillion. Who's laughing now?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Right?
That's a good point.
When you think about how the Biden-Harris administration raided the Medicare trust fund in order to help pay for electric vehicle tax credits for rich people.
Right.
And, President Trump, he's going to have to drive home this message. The media is not going to do it for him.
Explain that in more very specific detail, because I was asking Newt Gingrich.
I do think, because from what I've seen, Kamala hasn't really done much media so far. I would assume that from this point, she'll probably start doing more media, more interviews. I think the debate is on September the 9th, so that's not far away. But yeah, it'll be good for Kamala to give a few more interviews just for us to sort of get a bit more of a glimpse into like who she is and stuff like that.
Vivek Ramaswamy earlier. I think the most effective ads will be Kamala and Tim Walz in their own words.
100%. And I think that Dave McCormick, the Republican Senate candidate in Pennsylvania, was one of the first to do an ad when she was going to be the nominee. All they did was they just put together all of these sound bites of her in her own words. It's the most effective thing. But you got to be out there driving it. The media is not going to do it for them. And they have 78 days to just coast.
Well, it's actually less if we consider early voting beginning in Pennsylvania and just
North
31.
Carolina.
And I suppose you could argue, does Kamala actually need to do interviews? Because right now, I mean, the campaign's going quite well. Does she need to make many big changes? Obviously, it would be good if she did more media for people to see who she is and stuff. But that then opens her up to potential mistakes, errors. People can pick apart things she says.
And in North Carolina. Charlie, last word.
And the great thing about those ads that McCormick is doing is all you have to do is go to, at the beginning and the end, and you have Bob Casey or whatever Democrat a Republican is running against, and you just have them endorsing Kamala Harris, and that's the ad, and they're so powerful.
You have to say.
Yeah. By the way, did you guys get yelled at coming into the building? Because I got yelled at a lot. I don't know if it's me or I just want to know if it's because we work
I could
at
barely
Fox.
get into the place. I mean, for a party that managed to switch out their nominee in the middle of the night in about 12 seconds, they don't know how to get people into a convention.
It's clear that these guys, have picked their side. Let's for parity, let's check out a couple of the comments here. How can it be a great speech if you can't understand what she's saying? Quit pandering. Looks like Nancy. She doesn't make sense. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I think one thing that cannot be denied is that AOC gave a very galvanizing and powerful speech. I think it's clear from the comment sections of both videos, and I deliberately chose, a comment section that would obviously favor the speech and one that would probably not. And the speech was powerful. Now, I mean, it's a valid point. I would love, when Kamala inevitably starts doing media, I think that's going to be it's going to give us a real glimpse as to what she stands for. I mean, because now, I'm sure her strategists are preparing her, which is obviously great for her campaign. And she right now, she has the benefit, the luxury of not really needing to do any media right now because the campaign it's going quite well for her. But I think it is great for the people to really understand, the person that they're going to potentially vote into the presidency. I'm really enjoying following this presidential race. I find it so entertaining. It's such a long campaign and a long contest. But yeah, there's going to be some interesting times ahead. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoy my channel, please help me out by liking and subscribing.